Shalom. Apostle talking back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. And I'm going to do another breakdown, Revelation, the 9th chapter. And the reason why I'm doing it is because someone at the last video that I did, GMS, Thinking Out Loud, that I put up earlier today, asked a question. So I told the individual that I would do a breakdown on it. So here we are. And that's the spirit too, because there's been a lot of individuals outside of myself, handful of individuals that's been doing breakdowns on the different prophetic books of the Bible. So if you don't know the breakdown or the interpretation of these prophetic scriptures, you can ask, or you can watch the videos that I already put up. Anyway, I'm going to go right into it. Revelation 9 verse 1. And the first angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And the bottomless pit represents Europe. How do we know that? All you have to do is go to Revelation, the 20th chapter, and read the first couple of verses, first 2 or 3 verses. Because the devil or the beast or that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, that old serpent, he came out of Europe. That's Esau. Second verse. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose, remind you, the bottomless pit represents Europe. And there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. What does the scorpion's power is to what? Use their tail to kill you. Now these locusts that John saw was a battle during the time period of World War I. And the locusts were, they call them dog fighters back then, which were these planes that they had guns on the planes, and they would shoot. You have a guy that would shoot from behind. Now, prior to that, you had planes that would fly up in the sky during war, and when you read about this guy, the Red Baron, he actually had a shotgun, and he would be up there, and if he saw another plane that represented the enemy, he would shoot him with the shotgun. So what they did was they mounted, and then the technology got better as time went on. World War II, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam conflict. Now you have these fighter jets. So it says, so that's what the locust is talking about. What John saw was these dog fighters, and they would shoot down at the people, or they would shoot at the enemy side, who would be in the cockpit of the plane and shoot. And once you shoot the guy, then the plane goes down. So this right here is talking about World War I that John, the apostle, saw. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. Meaning, these fighter planes, these dog fighters wasn't shooting at trees and grass, and they were shooting at people. They would shoot at people on the earth, walking on the earth, if they would attack certain towns or cities or villages in Europe, or if they saw an opposing dog fighter, they would fight against it in the air. So it says, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. So the ones that have the seal of the Most High in their foreheads would be an Israelite man that will give birth to a son, and that son will give birth to another son, and that son will give birth to another son, and that would be one of us if we are one of the true elect of the Most High. And in other words, if I'm one of the true elect of the Most High, and my father's father's father or my great-great-grandfather was in the midst of that war, he wasn't going to be put to death. Because the Most High had sealed that man, because he was going to have a son that's going to have a son that's going to have a son that's going to be one of the 144,000, one of the elect, one of the 1/3. So no matter what they did, they wasn't going to be put to death. 5th verse. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented. And kill means to completely do away with a race, a nation. Like Esau is not killed off. He's going to be killed off when the kingdom comes. They speak about empires in the past that have died. Yeah, they died because the people of that kingdom were scattered, defeated by another nation, another empire. It says, and to them that was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and that 5 months represent 5 years. From 1914 to 1919, World War I. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Now, when a scorpion strikes you with his tail, you die. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from thee. Now, that's referring to in World War II, and even when you go back to the Civil War, you know, in the Revolutionary War, they didn't have the penicillin and the painkillers that we have today. Like if they had to amputate your leg, they would make you drink strong drink, and they would put some rubber piece in your mouth so you can take that pain, and they'd just chop your leg off. So you had guys that lost their legs, lost their arms, and they would be in a hospital bed where they couldn't use their arms, and they would be in such torment and pain that they would want to kill themselves. They showed you that in this one movie. Which movie was that? It was a Vietnam movie. I believe the movie was Dead President. Yeah, it was Dead Presidents. And the brother that played the main character, he had a friend, which I believe he was Italian, and he got injured. And he said, yo, man, just kill me, man, just kill me. And he said, I can't do that, I can't. He just killed me, man. Then he killed him. He gave him a favor and killed him. So these guys that are strapped up in beds, hospital beds, they want somebody to kill them because they can't use their limbs. And they wouldn't they wouldn't allow them to kill themselves because they couldn't. So that's what that's talking about. It goes on to say in the 7th verse, and the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. Now you have a regular horse that you raise on the farm, and then you have a horse in the ancient world that was prepared for battle. So what did they do? They would put armor on that horse. They would put extra leather on that horse, so that the rider, the way you would get to the rider, you can kill the horse, and then the horse is without a rider. So it was like a war horse. It says the shape of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold. Now what the Germans wore were these helmets that were silver or gold. So John saw it as a crown on their head, which it was a crown on their head. It said like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. The hair as the hair of woman. If you go back to World War I and you check out pictures of the military, German military, they were the higher ranking officers, and I believe most of them, I had a book on that. They would wear that helmet, and on the top of the helmet, the shiny helmet, whether it be gold or silver, it would be something that looked like hair coming out of the top of it. So that's what John saw. And the teeth represent the bullets that come out of the plane. It says 8th verse, and they had hair as the hair of woman, and their teeth, meaning what John saw, he saw the plane, and he saw the man in the cockpit with a helmet on, with hair coming out of the top of the helmet. And they also had scars because it was cold up there. So this is John seeing this thing happen in the 1400s to the 1900s, and he didn't know what a plane was. He didn't know what the German military was. So he described it the way he saw it. Ninth verse, and they had breastplates, as it were, breastplates of iron, because the planes, the dog fighters were made out of iron, out of metal. And the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots and many horses running the battle, because these planes made, what makes your car not make a lot of noise is the muffler system. So back there, they didn't, those planes made a lot of noise. Now a modern plane has a muffler system equivalent to a car. And they had tails like as to scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. That's the gunner. And their power was to hurt men 5 months, because they was in the midst of World War II. Eleventh verse, and they had a king over them, which is the king of the bottomless pit. Now that king represents Kaiser Wilhelm. I believe that's Kaiser Wilhelm the First, if I'm not mistaken. It's either Kaiser Wilhelm the First or Kaiser Wilhelm the Second, which the word Kaiser means Caesar, German way of saying Caesar, which means king. Which, by the way, he was connected to the royal family, so-called royal family out of England. So if you do the research, you look up World War One, you put in the word Kaiser Wilhelm, because he was a head man in Germany at that time. It says 11 verse again, and they had a king over them, which is the angel. Now, angel just means messenger. You can be a man and be labeled as an angel. That's in Revelation, the 12th chapter, where it says Michael fought and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels. Now, we know that the dragon is not a monster, a sea monster or whatever, that it represents Esau. And the angels represent their troops. It says an angel of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, which means destroyer. But in the Greek tongue, he have his name Apollyon, which means destroyer. One woe was past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, which that one woe represents the First World War. Thirteenth verse. It says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Now that's also spoken about in Revelation, the 16th chapter. The archangels being in the great river Euphrates, which is the Levant, which is the Middle East. And the four angels which were loose, which were prepared for an hour and for a day and for a month and for a year, for to slay the third part of man. And that third part of man represents Esau. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Now that army that John saw, he saw missiles. You know, he described the missiles as horses. Also, if you go to Joel, the 2nd chapter, and you read that army, that wasn't talking about a physical army of men, that was talking about the missiles. Because when the missiles come to destroy this place, Babylon the Great is going to come in formation. 16 verse again, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, which is 200 million, and I heard the number of them. Because you have these missiles, but you have multiple warheads inside of the head of the missile. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Now we know that an actual lion doesn't breathe fire. So the fact that he referred to the heads of lions, meaning the multiple warheads in the cone of the missile, if you will. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. That's the warheads. By these three was the third part of men killed. The third part of men represent Esau, because you had three classifications of men on the earth: sons of the Most High, sons of the nations, or sons of men, and then you have sons of the wicked. Esau's system is going to be destroyed. His system is going to be destroyed. Are there going to be Edomites left on the earth? Yeah, because we're going to have to enslave them by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. The mouth represents the multiple warheads. The tails represent the delivery system, which is the whole ICBM missile. The thing that's going to do the damage is not the missile. The thing that's going to do the damage is the multiple warheads that's going to come out of the top of that missile, the cone of that missile. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. Yeah, hurt to the point of kill, destroy. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, because you're going to have Edomites scattered around the world in different parts of Europe, in Africa, wherever they're scattered, and they're going to see this thing. Because the thing that's ultimately going to be completely destroyed is Babylon the Great, which is this place right here, America. Yet repented not of the works of their hands. In other words, Esau is going to be popping shit, and we're going to come down with spiritual power, and we're going to fuck them up. And the ones that resist will be destroyed, and the rest of them will be shackled up, and they're going into slavery. It says that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Now, in a nutshell, that's talking about their religion. They're going to run to the Roman Catholic Church and this church and in that church, and they're going to run to them idols. It said, neither repented they of their murders. Esau will tell you in a minute, I didn't do nothing. Nor of their sorcery, nor of their witchcraft. The power that they have is from the left-hand side. Nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. And fornication, the word fornication, you have a spiritual fornication and you have a physical fornication when you commit adultery, and that's what Esau does. Esau doesn't pass laws to criminalize people that commit adultery. There's no laws on the book. The adultery goes on every day here in America. So they don't pass laws on that. And the law of adultery is to put the man and the female to death, the male and the female to death. It says, nor of their thefts. Because they stole everything. So they're going to deny. But eventually, they're going to get beat down so bad that they're going to have no choice to submit. And then after 1,000 years of slavery, we're going to gather them all together and we're going to do away with them. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.